I'm so glad you're here. So today is the start of a three-part series that I'm going to go over, which is all about supporting your employees' well-being after the death of an employee. Now, oftentimes when I talk to leaders, that is their number one thing. They want to make sure that their employees are okay. And of course, I think this is very important. But then the question is, well, how do I do that? So we're going to go over the details of three specific ways. Now, there are so many different ways that you can do it, but I want to highlight the three that I think are the most important. The first one is open and honest communication. The second one is employee support and resources. And this goes way beyond what most of us think when we think about an employee assistance program or grieving counselors. And the last one is memorializing and also honoring the death of the employee. The reason I'm talking about these top three is because I find that many organizations go so far, but not quite far enough. And when we're talking about employee well-being, a lot of times organizations err on the side of caution. They're terrified. They're scared of saying and doing the wrong thing. They're scared of bringing up loss, like somehow the employees have forgotten that the employee has died. So heaven forbid we talk about it. So that's what we're going to go over on these next three series. I'm going to go into depth about what exactly does open communication look like. How else can you support your employees and offer them resources? And how do you memorialize an employee's death without kind of being a little creepy? All right, well, I hope you're as excited as I am. You're probably not, but hopefully you will be. All right, y'all, looking forward to talking to you. We're going to start with number one. So I'm going to break this section down into three specific areas. One, the obvious, which most of you will be like, well, that makes total sense. Two, the not so obvious, which many of you will be like, wow, that's really interesting. Three, the oh my gosh, this is really not obvious, but this is a great idea section. All right, so let's talk about open communication. Most organizations have their act together. When an employee dies, they send a message out within 24 hours to the whole organization, and this is really important. There are two things that I suggest that companies do. One is that email comes from the head of the organization, not from HR, not from the manager of the employee, but from the head of the organization. Now, of course, this depends on the size of the organization. If you're, for instance, Honda, and you have 37,000 employees, it cannot keep coming from the CEO because it'll feel like it's coming like there's lots of death. So you have to use your own judgment on who sends this out, depending on the size of your organization. So the big thing that I want to make sure that most organizations include in that information is the death of the employee, when it happened. Now, you don't have to go into details, but when it happened. And then in that message, you want to say, we will be sending out more information on how you can support the friend or share your condolences, right? Some organizations, what they do is they hold on to the announcement until they've got that back end done. And that's just not good because rumors spread. There's nothing you can do about it. If there's an employee death and other employees know, they're going to share that information. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you get out ahead of that. Because if you don't, it seems like you're trying to cover up. It seems like you're not being thoughtful. It seems like you're being kind of not supportive. So that is the obvious. The not so obvious is provide information to the employees of how they can support the family. Now, this is often uncomfortable because it means that somebody, either the manager of the employee or HR, is going to have to reach out to the family and suggest to them 5 or 6 ways that the employees would like to help, right? So this is not company specific. The organization can absolutely reach out to the families and offer, company specific help, but you want to give the employees the opportunity to also reach out to the family and offer that help. There's 2 really important reasons for this. One, oh my gosh, it's just so loving and kind to the family, right? They feel like they're being cared for and they know that their person who's died was loved. The second reason this is so important is because everybody wants to help. And when you give your employees the opportunity to actually step in and do things that are helpful, they feel good about themselves. When they don't have the opportunity to step in and be helpful, it actually makes them feel powerless and awful. And that is not a good feeling that you want your employees to have. So this means, again, that you and HR or the manager is going to have to call the family, come up with 5 or 6 ways that the organization, that the employees can possibly help, and field them to the family and say, we'd like to do 1 or 2 or 3 of these things. Which one best suits you? Do not call the family and say, we'd like to help. How can we help? Because that's very akin to saying, if you need anything, let me know, which is the worst thing you can say to anybody who's dealing with crisis. So that's that one. So that's the not so obvious. Okay, so the not so obvious way that you can communicate with your team is talk to them before you list the job, right? The employee dies. Let's be really honest, you probably have to find a replacement. And the notice should go out fairly soon, right? Within 3 to 4 weeks after the employee died. What I've seen organizations do is they just don't say anything. They put that, they make that job announcement and they hope that maybe no one will notice or that employees will understand that they need to find a replacement. And they do, but communicating with the team, saying, hey, we have to find a replacement. We've put together a job description and we're going to be posting it tomorrow or Tuesday or next week. And we just wanted to give you the heads up. And even one step better is to take the time to sit down with the team and go, how y'all feeling about this? And give them the opportunity to express it. One of the things that I really like is when companies bring in grief counselors for longer periods of time. And a grief counselor in this section, in this part, sitting in that meeting is so helpful. And that's something that I do provide when companies hire me. Is we have our own set of grief counselors that we bring into the organization to support them when they're having these feelings and these emotions about finding a replacement for the person who just died. So those are the 3 tips for communication that I have for you. I hope you find them helpful, and I'd love to know what you think. Like, did you think 1 was obvious? Do you think number 3, communicating with the team before the job is posted is a good idea? Leave a message and comment below and let me know. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me, and please remember, please remember, you matter. All right, make it a great day.